Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on the time you're watching this video. Welcome back to Klondike After Hours, your source for all the latest Club Penguin Army news. This week was action-packed with several leader inductions and retirements, wars beginning and ending, and much more. So let's not waste any more time and get right into the news. One of the Romans' most dedicated leaders, Games, announced his departure at the start of this week. This follows shortly after Lawless also departed the army, whilst Z Nation, Yellow Typer, and Some Dog were promoted to leader. Notably, Some Dog was quickly removed from leadership due to controversy surrounding his history. With Games gone, the future of the Romans is uncertain, however, we are hopeful for them. On October 2nd, Yellow Typer, founder of the Fire Vikings, announced two new additions to their leadership. Longtime army members Klomb and Carly were inducted as the newest Emperor and Empress respectively. This marks a new chapter for the Fire Vikings as more recently, one of their leaders, Toxic Storm, also stepped down, leaving the army in a transitioning state. The third leadership shakeup of this week came as a large surprise to many. On October 6, Rybread was removed from her position of Viking commander by the High Council of Vikings and banned indefinitely from the WeV Discord. This came as a surprise to many, as Rai was known to be one of the Vikings' most loyal and hard-working leaders. Her removal came as a result of internal army controversy regarding the well-being of members. Now, following the removal of Rai from the War Vikings, a day later their war against the People's Imperial Confederation came to an end. This war, which began as a friendly clash between one of the strongest armies and a fierce SM opponent, had only 3 battles, all of which went in favor of the Vikings. This war allowed for both sides to gain some experience for the upcoming October Horrors event, and who knows, the war may make a return later. Now, following the hasty conclusion of the war versus WeV, the Confederates had decided to strengthen their diplomatic relations by establishing an alliance with the Void troops. Alu, one of Big's top advisors, stated that VT had assisted the army in becoming one of, if not the top SM armies, and that their help was invaluable. Both armies seem delighted with this new relationship, as it promises great things. On October 5, the Water troops announced the end of the Wet Tactics War against the Special Weapons and Tactics. This came after they were winning the War 600. The troops commended William, SWAT's leader, for his dedication and commitment. Following their surrender on October 7, the Water troops also announced their closure. Leaders Raven and Misty commented that the army had served its purpose and that they would be moving on to new goals. On October 7, the community welcomed back the Thunder Troops, an army not seen for decades. The troops were founded by Jack in April 2011 and existed briefly until June of the same year, until their eventual closure, never to be heard from again. That is, until now, when October 7, they hosted a revival event Maxing 8. Led by AB, Turtle, Tiny Guy, and X-Demon, the Thunder Troops promised to be a major player in the SM scene. Amidst the recent promotions, the Fire Vikings also lost a leader. Zujot, who had been leading the army on and off for quite some time, guiding them through practice battles and even tournaments such as around the World Cup 2, decided to step down on October 6. Citing personal reasons and a lack of time, Zujot's retirement will surely leave a lasting impact on the Fire Vikings, especially when considering his major impact he had on the army. On October 9, the newly revived Thunder Troops declared war on SWAT. Following their brief war against the Water Troops, the agents were once again forced into conflict, again against a new face in the community. One of the Thunder Troops leaders, X-Demon, stated this war was declared to, quote, give SWAT a reason to max more than 5, and that there was, quote, no beef, just a desire for a friendly battle. Well, let's see if they will max more than 5. Anyway, on October 11, 2 of the community's foremost SM armies had a breakdown in relations. The Dark Warriors surprised the community by announcing that their alliance with the Romans would be coming to an end. Many wondered what happened, especially since DW and Romans have had close relations even since OG. In an interview, DW leader Justin stated that the Romans, quote, clearly weren't interested in us or our values, and this is what led to the alliance's end. Ending this week's news, we have the top 10 breakdown. The sheer amount of activity this week led to there being an astonishing 21 armies on the list. In first place again we have the Water Vikings, far ahead of second place the army of Klondike. From here in third we see Aliens with RPF close behind facing a 0.6 multiplier following a recent administrative statement. In fifth we see the Help Force, and in sixth is our largest risers, the Star Force, up by 6 places. In 7th and 8th, we see the Templars and Dark Warriors respectively, with the Shadow Legionaries in at 9th following the return. Void Troops are in at 10th, rounding out the top 10. And that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed spending time watching these Klondike After Hours. And to not miss any other edition, make sure to click the subscribe button, leave a like, a comment below, and share with your fellow community friends. See you next week, bye bye!